In this video, we'll give you 4 quarterbacks that have the widest range of outcomes in 2024 fantasy leagues. I'm Jim Coventry, along with Anthony Servino of RotoWire.
Jim, I can't think of another quarterback with a wider range of outcomes than Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson has the highest ceiling in the world. His ceiling is so high where I believe if he plays a full season up to expectation, he can break fantasy football. The low end, well, we saw it last year, and it wasn't because of performance. The low is because of injury. You got to remember last year, we saw Anthony Richardson play in 4 games. 2 of those games he left in the second quarter. Those other 2 where he played full games, he finished as a QB4 and the QB2 on the week. If we're drafting Anthony Richardson, we have to pay up to get him, but I think it's worth it. I think we have to put the blinders onto the injury and look at the things that Anthony Richardson has going for him, like Shane Steichen, like Jonathan Taylor, whom he's never played it down with. Risers like Michael Pittman. They drafted Adonai Mitchell. And I think this Colts offense, if the stars align, could be a top 10 unit in the league. So if you're buying into Anthony Richardson, I think we have to put the blinders on to the risk and buy into his overall upside.
Another quarterback with a very wide range of outcomes is Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. Look, we get it. Back since the days of Tim Tebow and even further before that, running quarterbacks can excel in fantasy football. And we know Jayden Daniels is electric as a runner. It could be designed runs, it could be taking off out of the pocket, but he can do that. And in terms of weapons in the passing game, you got Terry McLaurin, a superstar who's never put up superstar numbers. Jahan Dotson, former first-round pick. We'll see what's going on with him. But there is potential for Jayden Daniels of a ceiling season. However, Jayden Daniels was a starter in college since 2019. He had not thrown more than 17 touchdown passes in a season until his last year in college. At that point, he was a man among boys playing in a great program. So the 40 touchdowns that Jayden Daniels threw in 2023, color me skeptical. In terms of the running, Jayden Daniels is 210 pounds. That is small for an NFL runner, which he's a running quarterback. Now, also, while in college, Jayden Daniels was not a player who was trying to avoid contact. He took way too many hits. If he takes those level of hits from NFL defenders, that is going to lead to a beat-up quarterback, and even if he doesn't miss time, it certainly may diminish his running ability. So basically, running ability is it. Jayden Daniels has upside, but he also has some real downside. Now, if you enjoy videos like this, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the RotoWire Fantasy Football channel on YouTube. Also, check out all of our fantasy football content and rankings by getting a free 2-day trial with no credit card needed. Go to rotowire.com/Jim to see all of our content.
Jim, my next quarterback with a wide range of outcomes is Daniel Jones, and I get it. People want nothing to do with Daniel Jones. We don't even know if he's going to start the full season with guys like Drew Lock behind him. But Drew Lock really isn't a threat. I think the Giants really want to see if they can get the old Daniel Jones back. And who's the old Daniel Jones? Well, back in 2022, Brian Daboll, you can make the case that he unlocked Daniel Jones. At least in fantasy football, he was a quarterback 10 in fantasy points per game. Now, statistically, it was not great for Daniel Jones, but Brian Daboll put him into position to succeed. He was fairly accurate, all things considered, and he also had a fairly high rushing floor that season. He was the 4th best quarterback in red zone carries, 3rd in rushing touchdowns with 7, and 5th in rushing yards per game. When we add in guys like Malik Neighbors, Devin Singletary to this mix, and of course, guys like Wan'Dale Robinson coming off the injury, and he might finally be healthy, I'm ready to buy into Daniel Jones one more time. He's going as a QB 24 off the board. I think his ceiling, he could finish as a top 15 quarterback. His floor, well, he could be on the bench, but with that type of upside built into Daniel Jones, I don't mind taking my shots in best ball and as a QB3 in Superflex.
My last quarterback with a very wide range of outcomes is Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, look, in his career, Lawrence has not had very good coaching during most of his time with the Jaguars. Even last year, yes, Doug Peterson's the head coach, but Press Taylor was running the offense, and it was very predictable, and it was very lack and void of players being fully weaponized. So overall, even with Calvin Ridley, who's no longer with the team just did not optimize their personnel. We saw Trevor Lawrence on the verge of a breakout in the second half of the 2022 season. But as we said in 2023, it did not work out. And last year, Trevor Lawrence only had 6 games when he threw more than 1 touchdown pass. Also, he had a single game with more than 2 touchdowns. So it was not good. Ridley's gone, but here's the hope that what we saw in 2022 is possible, and that Doug Peterson does indeed take the offense over. Peterson does have a history of being able to run some aggressive, successful NFL passing attacks. We know that we have Evan Ingram at tight end, not been weaponized enough with his speed. We know Christian Kirk, great slot receiver. Travis Etienne out of the backfield. They draft Brian Thomas early in the NFL draft. So there are weapons. All we need is Trevor Lawrence to get some good coaching. And if he gets that good coaching, Trevor Lawrence can outperform that ADP that has him going outside the top 15 quarterbacks.